The digital filmmaking revolution is taking over, and filmmaking has become the new GarageBand. Welcome to Framelines. I'm Johnny DiLoretto. This show brings you the people who are making movies in your neck of the woods, gives you filmmaking tips, and takes you behind the scenes on film sets so you can get the full scoop.
Framelines is brought to you in part by grants by the Greater Columbus Arts Council, the Mid-Ohio Filmmakers Association, connecting filmmakers with resources, opportunities, and each other.
Peter John Ross breaks down a movie-making technique right now.
I have a metaphor for making a movie. Making a movie is like building a house. It doesn't matter if it's 30 seconds or 4 hours long or anything in between. There are 3 phases to making any movie. Pre-production, which is your script or story or idea, production, which is the shoot, and post-production, where it all comes together. The house metaphor works like this. Your script or story or idea is the blueprint. Where most people make a mistake is thinking because there's so much involved and so many people that production is at least partially construction. Nope. The shoot is nothing but the collection of raw materials. The edit and post-production is construction. What happens when you have bad blueprints and try to build a house? It falls apart. You could have the perfect plans, but crappy materials mean your house will fall down. Using this metaphor, if your script or story idea isn't right, no matter what you do on the shoot, you can't make a good movie. You can have the best materials in the world, as in the best actors, best performances, the greatest camera work, but if the blueprint sucked, you're not going to build a good movie. Similarly, you could have the best story ever written, but without good camera work and even better performances, you can't put it all together in post and suddenly make it good. Finally, the third scenario means that with the greatest foundations and even better raw materials, without a good editor and post-production team putting it all together, your movie could still fall apart. People often wonder, which phase is the most important part of making a film? They are all equally important. No aspect, no detail, and no job on a movie is insignificant. They all contribute to the whole.
Are you guys anybody union here? Can we talk about unions?
Yeah, I'm union.
So what's the advantage and disadvantage of being in a union, especially in a market like this?
There are both. You get paid. You get paid, well, not to say that non-union talent doesn't get paid. You get paid at a different rate. You sometimes get a preference to audition times, but a disadvantage to it can be, and the union I think is also cognizant of it, that in a market like Columbus or Central Iowa or any of the surrounding cities, there's just not a lot of truly working actors. It's not the same environment as a Chicago or a New York or an LA or even in Austin, Texas, or New Orleans is huge.
Right.
So they're cognizant of it, and there are ways to work non-union jobs as a union actor. It depends a lot on the contracts, and I think they're more and more understanding of it than they were previously. And also for independent projects. And I think this is the other thing for filmmakers. Don't be afraid to look at the independent contracts for working with SAG-AFTRA actors, because they're out there. It doesn't, sometimes it's a deferred payment contract, and I've done several projects that were like that. So, but the advantages are that I think when you get into larger markets, when someone sees that you're a SAG-AFTRA actor, they know that you've had a certain amount of experience, that you've had to do a certain kind of level of projects, and that makes a difference.
Okay. Any other insights?
Well, I think there's a disadvantage to becoming a union actor before you're really ready, because then you're competing with other union actors, and that can kind of leave you out of the loop, and maybe you just need a little more experience, and as a non-union actor you would be in there competing with non-union people and getting more work. I'm non-union, and I still get to audition for union work in this market. I don't have the priority as a union person would, but I'll still get called in to audition, so I don't think not being a union member hurts me in that regard. Okay. But and then too, I also will negotiate for pay on an independent project too. And I mean, sometimes it might just be help me put together a reel, and you know, or it might not be actual money, but some kind of back and forth. But I think the thing I've seen is I've seen people get SAG cards too soon, maybe, and then you know they're complaining because they can't get any union work, and there's not a lot of union jobs out there. So, and it's a lot of paperwork. So if someone is a union actor and you want to put them in a non-union film, you can do the paperwork, but the person better be worth it for that. So I think that can hurt. But yeah,
Right.
I'm not avoiding joining the union, but
right. No, I understand.
Just,
I'm
pushing it.
There's always this kind of, you got to weigh when's the time to do that. And
it's an investment. I mean, it's not inexpensive either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm exactly in the same boat as Christina. I've almost every project I've done in the last couple of years has been, they've gotten the SAG union indie contract things, and I've not tried to Taft-Hartley in on anything. I've kept pushing that off because I'm not ready to do it, and I'm not against it, but like John said, there's an investment that has to be made. There's, what is it, $1,200 now for your initial payment to join?
I thought it was more than that.
More than that?
Yeah. I think it's more.
There's certain things that you have to invest in that. Is it 2,000? 3,000.
But can you do that over time? Is that one of these things you can do it quarterly or bi-yearly or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm waiting for the job that has that as the paycheck, and then I'll join.
No, I mean, working as a cinematographer in Los Angeles, I was, starting to get into the budgets, and it was like, do I go union or not?
Sure.
And I realized I was not at that point where if I go on union, it's going to cost me work. So I just couldn't afford to make that jump. So
there's also parts of the union that really do protect the actors. So you can be on a project, and let's say it's a commercial thing, and they could say, okay, well, this is going to be for broadcast, but then they 2 months later change their mind, and then they throw it out on the web, or they cut out what you've done and they put it into a radio spot. And the union helps to protect you, to make sure that as an actor that you're compensated for that duly,
right,
as you should be. But yeah.
I can't believe that happened at work. But enough about that. So what about your reunion tonight? Are you gonna go?
Oh, I don't know. The whole endeavor just seems so pointless.
Devin, you should totally go.
Rachel, I haven't seen these people in like 20 years.
Yeah, when I went to my reunion, it was great. The hot guys were all fat and bald. The popular girls were all out of shape and hairy. All the smart kids turned out great. I must admit, though, I was reluctant to go, but in the end, I'm glad I did. I always thought of myself as not really popular, but not really a nerd either. Sort of an in-between. An in-betweener. Is that even a word? So what were you like in high school? Devin? Devin, are you there? Did we drop this call? Devin, hello?
Chris Westfield, who is my film partner, just moved to Phoenix, and so we decided that we wanted to try to do a MOFA project long distance. So the first week of the 3 weeks of terror, he was on his honeymoon because he just got married. And then, so we started the second week, and we Skyped, and which I had no idea I could do because I thought it had to do with the landline in any way. But we successfully Skyped and we brainstormed, and that was the more complicated part. I'm not saying the hardest part wasn't the filming because I was not there, but the more complicated part was the just getting the story down to a lock, to what we both agreed on would make a decent story for the genre that or the suggestion theme. And so we finally talked about what we thought would work well, and we discussed an outline, and he sent me something, and then I worked on it and sent it back, and then he tweaked it, sent it back to me, I tweaked it, sent it back to him, and we agreed on the final script. And then he filmed it, and he said, this is what I need, and I composed the music and sent that back to him. And there was at one point he said, the opening does not work for me, we need something else. So I went and made him something else, and he said that works better. And I'm very proud of what we did. I'm really impressed with it. That you don't have to be not only in the same room, but the same state to make something work. I mean, if you have a really good team and you are kind of in tune with each other, and everybody's on the same page, you can really do as well as you can if you're all in the same room with each other. It just seems like everybody's really worked hard at doing what they normally would have done if I had been in Phoenix or Chris had been here. So that was really impressive. I thought how easily that just came together like that. My advice would be to make sure that you have a team that is in tune with your own personal perceptions, that you really can all work together, that there's not too many cooks in this kitchen, because that only causes problems. That you kind of all coincide with a similar vision. It doesn't have to be the same vision, but it's really good if it's similar, because that really takes out a lot of kinks, and it takes out a lot of the issues of, well, I thought it would be better this way, I thought it would be better this way. You all kind of, get together as a team. It's got to be a team effort and talk about it. And it's not about you. It's not about person A or person B. It's for the project. You have to do what's best for the project. You want the best outcome. So my advice to filmmakers is get a team together that is going to work together. And that doesn't mean yes men or no men. That just means people that are going to be cohesive in the specific project you're going to do. Because that really takes a lot of the load off.
Fans of movies love to see alternate or longer versions of their favorite movies. There are basically two different types of extended cuts for the most part: a director's cut and a special edition. What is the difference between a director's cut and a special edition? James Cameron has never released a director's cut. Terminator 2 and Avatar and Aliens got special editions instead. I remember reading the back of a Laserdisc, an album-sized video disc in 1991 of James Cameron's special edition of The Abyss, and shortly after, a Laserdisc of Aliens special edition, where James Cameron clearly wrote that these are not director's cuts. Home video affords him the opportunity to add back in scenes, and for James Cameron, whole subplots back into the film, and they can be seen as alternate versions, and thus special editions is the apt title for these versions. Usually a director's cut implies that the studio or the producers made editorial decisions against the wishes of the director. In the case of James Cameron, he was fired from his first film, Piranha 2: The Spawning, and he did not have final cut. He vowed and has upheld that he would contractually have final cut on every movie he directs. After the debacle of what happened to Ridley Scott on Alien and Blade Runner, you would think he would have similarly made sure he had that in his contract. But even as recent as 2005, he still has to release a director's cut of Kingdom of Heaven because the theatrical version was not what he intended. Although Ridley Scott has also released extended editions of Black Hawk Down and Gladiator. Those are not considered director's cut because in his DGA, Directors Guild contract, he had final cut on those films. Peter Jackson is a fan of special editions, but he doesn't like to release them first. During The Lord of the Rings and the huge success of the special editions, note, not director's cuts, of Lord of the Rings, when asked why he didn't release the extended cuts of those films, he said, the only reason people say that is because they have something to compare them to. The initial theatrical releases were very popular. With King Kong, one of the main criticisms, including my own, is that the theatrical cut, which is technically a director's cut, was too long and self-indulgent. He even then released a longer special edition of King Kong. So the basic difference? Whether or not the director got final cut in their contract for the movie.
Framelines takes aim at the people, organizations, and groups that support the art of filmmaking.
I'm the director of Winter Film. This was my baby. I came up with this idea about 4 years ago. And it was a response to, I love doing the 48s. I've done 5 or 6 of them, and after we did our last one, we did really well, got Best Picture, Best Director, and that kind of thing. So I thought, well, where do you go from here? As most people that have done them probably realize, after doing 48 hours worth of anything, you've got a film. It maybe isn't a brilliant film. It maybe isn't the best you could do. You had a great time. And I thought, well, what if you had a month? What if you had a month during a time when people are generally not doing anything? I'm a story guy. I always have been. I mean, you tell me a good story. I don't care how badly it's produced. If it's a good story, man, I'm hooked. So I thought, well, what if that's the whole point of this? What if the point of Winter Film is tell me the best damn story you can with the best crew you can assemble in a month? And surely that's enough time to, if you can't then submit to other festivals with that, you ought to be awful close to a little bit of tweaking to get you there. In the past 4 years, I've seen some amazing filmmaking, and like I said, you know, to me, the story is everything. And even if somebody, there are a couple films in the past, they got it. They understood that that's what it's all about. To me, that's where you start building. You know, once you get the idea of the story, then you know your filmmaking chops may improve. But if the story is good and it resonates with people, then that's all that matters. That's really all that matters. There's a couple groups down there that have brought, I don't know, 20 people. That's awesome. You know, that is so cool. I don't care if it's the worst film out there. The fact that there's 20 people sitting there watching their film on a screen with their, you know, with their genre, with their people, with their filmmakers. And that's why I do this, you know, and that's why I keep doing this, because it's work. Not so much during the festival. Like, I kind of joke about it. You know, we set the thing up, we come up with the genre, we come up with the prop, and then I sit back and relax for a month. But then they turn the films in, and I have to do work. You know, so everybody's learning off of everybody. And that to me is, that's why I do it. The thing that's the coolest thing I've seen about this year's Winter Film is that there is a lot of cross-pollination. There are a lot of people that have worked on multiple films. There are a lot of people that have acted in multiple films. There's a lot of people that have done makeup or wardrobe or visual effects or whatever, and it's not been this weird little silos. And that's kind of what when I first started with Sofa 8 years ago, maybe. It was really cliquish. That's a good term for it. There were cliques of filmmakers, and I get it. You got to have, I keep saying tribe, you got to have your little tribe that you can work with, because if we're all doing this for free, then we got to be invested. SOFA's been incredibly supportive, and SOFA is the Southern Ohio Filmmakers Association, and Winter Film, I used to be on the board. I used to be the president of the board of SOFA, and I think the last year I was president is when we came up with the idea for Winter Film. It's sort of a partnership. So it was a way to get our community involved. But it's like you want that film you get at the end of you know, making your entire team bleed for free for X number of days, etc. To be something they all can walk away and go, wow, I'm really proud of this. There's so much regional talent that I've seen, and doing Winter Film has just verified this to me. I've always believed. I mean, since the
since the 80s when I started doing the young people shows, and I started to know the guys involved and learn some of the local talent. It's always been here. There's always been the talent to make some really quality stuff. How do you now support it? And that's part of what Winterfilm is, I would like to think.
Even just a few years ago, the idea of editing meant just cutting from one shot to another, and the most special effect was a dissolve. Today, the editor's job expands into all kinds of effects and also fixes. There's a common saying that most people want to avoid, and it's, "We'll fix it in post." Meaning, during post-production, you try to fix mistakes from the shoot. Things have changed a lot recently. What used to be a ruined take can now be easily fixed in editing. Here we have two shots where the boom mic entered the frame, or the shadow of the crew was seen.
I never talked to him, and he asked you out that ended your social contract, and now you're in the clear, right?
In the old days, that meant you either had to reshoot or choose a different take. Today, we have options. You can take a part of the frame from either before or after the mistake, then crop it down to just the area you need to cover it up. Then lay it on top of the take you want to use. Voila! You have a seamless fix on that take that might otherwise have been perfect. Thinking a little outside of the box, using the digital technology in ways that maybe you hadn't considered, means you can do more with your footage. Have you ever attempted anything like that? Have you ever tried to, maybe if they said, "I don't want music here," have you ever tried to like slip one past the goalie? At least, as I say, can you try that? Can you just listen to this?
I wouldn't say all the time, but a lot of times when you're spotting, hopefully you're spotting with the director and you're sitting down, you're agreeing on certain things. And at that point you minimize that kind of thing because you both kind of feel where things should go. But there are times where either you're not spotting right on with the director, or you write a piece of music that the emotion carries and you think, oh man, if that just hangs into the next scene, and we just trail off those one or two notes, man, look at the emotional impact and how that just kind of trails in. And I would say a lot of times the director agrees. Once they hear actually what happens, they agree. They say, oh wow, that works really well. And they are surprised, like you said.
What's the most number of revisions you've gone through?
I think 7.
7, yeah, I guess it was 7 by the time it was done.
But it
some
can
of them
be
were small.
It can be anything from the first one is it, and we're done, to you go through several revisions. And it could be that we didn't understand what the director was looking for. You know, he said something and we thought we understood what it was and he really wanted something else. Or it could be that we thought we would try something and see what he thought and didn't turn out, didn't work. Yeah. It could be one of several different things.
Go ahead.
I was recently. I had spent quite a bit of time on a cue, and it was an orchestral cue, and I was really hoping that he would like it because I didn't want to do it again. And sure enough, he liked it. So I was yes.
He nailed
such
it.
a great feeling
Yeah.
when you send it and you sit at your email and you're like, oh, please like it, please like it. You see that email come in, and you're like, honey, can you come here and read this email?
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me it's good news.
Because
if it's not, just don't say anything.
Because you don't have I mean, in this business, you can't have an ego. It's true with filmmakers or whatever. But I mean,
it's especially true when with a film, it is the director's vision.
Right. But it's still you.
It's still you, but at the same time, you're working for someone else.
Yeah.
And so it's got to be hard to be like, no, I didn't like it at all. Or that didn't even come close.
I would think that the most times that we've had multiple revisions is usually, and this is not, we have these situations, and I'm sure you've run into them with different filmmakers or films or whatever. The scene doesn't sell itself. The scene, for whatever reason, the actors or the script writing or whatever just failed to convey the emotion that the director has in their head. And so what they're looking for is the music to help fix it. And that's where we usually, hey, we're scoring to the film, we're scoring to this beautiful romance. And, no, he's about to walk out on her. It's got to be, you got to set this up and it's got to be sad. And it just doesn't sell that way. And as you go through more and more revisions and making it more sad and sad and sad, then you're like, okay, this doesn't quite fit, but when you put it in the context, you understand why it had to go that way. And so there are some times where we're doing a little Band-Aid process a little bit.
So I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and sharing your thoughts. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, I'm Tess. This is an interactive editing project from sunnyboo.com. Cutting from one dolly shot to another takes practice. In this scene, we have a team of robbers planning their next raid. All of the angles use moving camera shots. Editing between dolly shots takes a lot of practice, and here you can create this scene your own way. You can download all the shots from YouTube or Vimeo here. Please make sure to use the credits as listed here and use the hashtag SunnyBoo, and we can't wait to see what you create.
That's a wrap. We'll catch you next time on Framelines.